And deep down, we all want to eat the rich.
Money isn't everything, but on screen it can seem like it.
See, money doesn't just buy you a better life, better food, better cars, but also makes you a better person.
Movies have been indulging in wealth fantasies since the silent era. In 1914, Cecil B. DeMille and Oscar Apfel directed Brewster's Millions, the story of a regular schmuck who inherits a sudden windfall. It would go on to be remade dozens of times. But maybe the reason this story has endured isn't because it's a rags-to-riches Cinderella tale.
Gentlemen, do you think I'm a lowlife?
Oh, no, Mr.
No,
Brewster.
Mr. Brewster, not with these clothes.
It's because it makes wealth out to be both a dream and a nightmare, indulging our unattainable desire for wealth while reassuring us that the true cost probably isn't worth it.
I'm going to teach you to hate spending money. I'm going to make you so sick of spending money that the mere sight of it will make you want to throw up.
Many of our more recent depictions of wealth aren't just skeptical, they're downright damning.
How much is a little bit of decency? What is it with you people?
Several major films of 2019 seem to convey one urgent message: eat the rich.
You see what they did to this country? They stole from everybody. Hardworking people lost everything. And not one of these douchebags went to jail.
From the late capitalist horrors of Us, to the post-recession crime thriller Hustlers, to the Best Picture-winning Parasite, class warfare is suddenly everywhere at the movies, feeding off a growing dissatisfaction with a world that revolves around the rich.
There's a storm coming, Mr. Wayne. You're all gonna wonder how you ever thought you could live so large and leave so little for the rest of us.
Here's our take on the long and often fraught relationship we've had with wealth on screen, and why lately it seems like the revolution has begun.
Didn't you hear? Congress just passed a bill legalizing murder if you're rich.
No, they didn't. Oh my God, they did.
You're watching The Take. Let us know your take.
Doesn't money make you horny?
From ancient tales of kings and emperors to today's Instagram influencers, we've always been fascinated by stories of wealth and wealthy people. Some of this is pure wish fulfillment, the daydream of how our own lives could be changed if we only had more money.
A few hours ago, you were giving chai for the phone wallahs, and now you're richer than they will ever be.
We've even coined a term for it: wealth porn. The TV shows, films, and glossy magazine spreads that luxuriate in extravagance.
I can't believe I'm on a private plane. It's like I'm in a band. Very white, very wealthy band. It's like I'm in U2.
But we've also been conditioned to believe the wealthy are inherently fascinating, that in fact they're the only ones worth telling stories about. The playwright George Bernard Shaw once wrote, "Industrial slavery is not compatible with that freedom of adventure, that personal refinement and intellectual culture, that scope of action which the higher and subtler drama demands." As Shaw declared, Hamlet's experiences simply could not have happened to a plumber.
You are a fishmonger.
Not I, my lord.
And I would you were so honest a man.
Our stories have long backed this up, from the scruffy orphans of Charles Dickens, who were inevitably revealed to be of noble blood,
You deserve more than this. Far more!
to our quintessentially American tales of self-made millionaires like Jay Gatsby.
The only respectable thing about you, old sport, is your money. Your money, that's it. I have just as much as you. That means we're equal.
We've even made wealth into a superpower. The superhero alter egos of Batman's Bruce Wayne and Iron Man's Tony Stark depend largely on their finances.
Where does it get those wonderful toys?
But their money doesn't just pay for a lot of fancy gear. It's also molded them into men with the self-assurance to shape cities, change lives, and snub their nose at the rules.
Take that off. What are you?
Genius, billionaire, playboy, philanthropist.
I'm going to have to ask you to leave. It is not a question of money.
You see, I'm buying this hotel and setting some new rules about the pool area.
These stories reinforce the innate American dream of being the captains of our own destinies. They suggest wealth is the American dream, the natural endpoint of a culture infatuated with individualism.
Greed clarifies, cuts through, and captures the essence of
evolutionary spirit.
Even those for whom wealth ultimately proves corrupting are portrayed as relentless in their quest for greatness.
No one quits while they're ahead. This isn't France, it's America.
Yet we're equally fascinated by the idle rich, whose opulent surroundings elevate their petty squabbles into the kind of high drama Shaw wrote about.
Get the out of here and go. No one wants you in the shoot. I'm planning it.
We aspire to be them not because of their hard work, but because their wealth makes their every shopping trip or dinner party a story worth telling. All of these have imparted the same message. Wealth makes you important. To have money is to be someone.
Enough of this will make you invincible. I'm talking about this.
We want to be fair, and yet we want to win. We want to be righteous, and we want to get ahead. Such is our struggle.
Being rich might make you important, but it doesn't make you a good person.
The man has no idea how to behave like a billionaire. Where's the dignity? Where's the contempt for the common man?
For every Bruce Wayne, there is a Lex Luthor, who wields their wealth towards selfish, even wicked ends.
You know the oldest lie in America, Senator? It's that power can be innocent.
And while we've celebrated the wealthy as aspirational examples, we've also viewed them as cautionary ones, through characters who end up consumed by money.
I will not part with a single coin.
These stories speak to the belief that money, like power, rots the very soul.
Is that how a warped brain like yours gets its kicks? By planning the death of innocent people?
No. By causing the death of innocent people.
European filmmakers have long viewed the excesses of wealth as a kind of sickness, and expressed this through the recurring motif of eating. The satires of Luis Buñuel portray the wealthy as morally bankrupt gluttons fixated on dining above all else. The director thwarts the well-to-do friends of the discreet charm of the bourgeoisie by spending the whole movie interrupting their attempts to eat.
L'armée verte a attaqué avant l'heure prévue, nous devons partir immédiatement.
Oh, mais vous n'avez rien mangé.
In The Exterminating Angel, he does the opposite and traps them at their dinner party, where they've been casually picking over the plights of others while enjoying their meal.
Yo creo que la gente del pueblo, la gente baja, es menos sensible al dolor. ¿Usted ha visto un toro herido alguna vez? Impasible.
In Marco Ferreri's La Grande Bouffe, the bourgeoisie literally gorge themselves to death. And in American stories, too, we can see this connection between the rich and consumption.
The mud soup and charcoal arugula are outrageous here.
Or hedonism in general.
On a daily basis, I consume enough drugs to sedate Manhattan, Long Island, and Queens for a month.
While films like 1989's Society expose the overtly twisted and grotesque aspects of wealth, others explore it emotionally as the dark side of that American dream, a cold-blooded, competitive drive that curdles into the outright misanthropy of There Will Be Blood's Daniel Plainview.
I look at people and I see nothing worth liking. I want to earn enough money I can get away from everyone.
This is why we sometimes feel sympathy, even pity for the rich. Citizen Kane's Charles Foster Kane is one of those archetypal captains of industry, but his rags-to-riches story is presented as a tragedy, showing us how Kane's wealth never brings him any real joy, can't replace the innocent childhood he lost, and only serves to push away everyone he cares about.
If I hadn't been very rich, I might have been a really great man.
Succession's media mogul Logan Roy, a modern Charles Foster Kane, does have a family, but his wealth has made his children cold, selfish, lazy, and suspecting.
You plotted a takeover. What the is wrong with you? To fundamentally alter the nature of the family on my wedding day?
In our more optimistic stories, we believe these misers can still be cured, if only they can let go of their wealth and find true love, or recover their basic humanity.
There are people that don't have enough to eat. There are people that are cold. You can go out and say hello to these people. You can take an old blanket out of the closet and say, here.
But we've also come to understand that it's the very system that's made them this way.
Greed is right. Greed works.
Wall Street's Gordon Gekko, arguably our most iconic symbol of greed, was modeled on various real-life financiers like Michael Milken and Ivan Boesky, who played the stock market like a game, because that's exactly how it was built.
It's not a question of enough, pal. It's a zero-sum game. Somebody wins, somebody loses.
When The Game finally collapsed in 2008, films like The Big Short and The Laundromat picked through the rubble, and they didn't just place the blame on all those latter-day Gordon Geckos.
I can't hate him. He is so transparent in his self-interest that I kind of respect him.
They indicted an entire economic structure where insider trading, money laundering, and shell corporations are built right in, and the ordinary people who live the right way are the ones who suffer.
All I did wrong was try and save money. I tried to buy what I needed for less.
Stories were heralding a change. We were done feeling sympathy for the rich or hoping they would stop devouring everything in sight. It was time to do some feasting of our own.
The truth is that my father is a malignant presence, a bully and a liar.
What a harsh world you live in.
We all live in a harsh world. But at least I know I do.
Perhaps no film arrived in 2019 with its finger further from the pulse than the movie version of Downton Abbey. Like the TV series it's based on, Downton Abbey serves up a warm, nostalgic vision of kindly lords and ladies being waited on by their humble, lovely servants, all working in aristocratic harmony.
How comforting to see you here, Carson. What prompted you to take up the flaming sword again?
I felt I should go where I could do the most good, my lady.
As Stanford University professor Priya Satya said while discussing the film with Politico, if we're going to have inequality, can it at least be nice? But many of the year's other films about wealth and privilege were through playing nice.
Rich people!
Bong Joon-ho's Parasite presented its own take on Downton Abbey's upstairs-downstairs dynamic. The wealthy live in an untroubled ease facilitated by these people who are toiling beneath them, out of sight and out of mind. Jordan Peele's Us imagines a similarly literal upstairs-downstairs divide, where upper-middle-class families vacation in the sun, while their doppelgangers, alike in every way except for their money and opportunities, suffer in darkness and misery.
It's our time now.
As in Downton Abbey, those well-off families are seen as nice people, but it's only because their money makes them that way.
부자인데 착하다니까. 부자인데 착해가 아니라 부자니까 착한 거지. 뭔 소리인지 알아?
In Knives Out, college student Meg even goes out of her way to be nice to nurse Marta, while angrily calling out her wealthy family's racist, classist attitudes.
Alt-right troll.
The worst snowflake.
But her facade drops the moment Marta takes control of the family fortune, and their power dynamic is reversed.
No, Meg.
Whatever money you need, I'll give it to you, okay?
Thanks.
And once I...
Faced with this kind of entrenched privilege, narratives have increasingly responded with anger and violence.
No, baby, this game is rigged. And it does not reward people who play by the rules.
All those nice, wealthy people have become dehumanized collateral damage, the same way the system has long treated everyone else.
Oh, why is everybody so upset about these guys? If it was me dying on the sidewalk, you'd walk right over me.
Films like Joker and Hustlers took matters into their own hands, stealing from the rich.
I know I'm supposed to think that what you did was terrible and that these guys didn't deserve it. But to tell you the truth, I don't feel sorry for them.
And even killing them. The rancor these stories express has long been common to British cinema, whose traditional focus on class tensions has made eating the rich an occasionally literal pastime.
2 more managers with chips. We're running out of manager. Oh, blimey, we'll have to start on the customers' end.
These social critiques are also a signature feature of filmmakers like Bong Joon-ho, whose near-future dystopia Snowpiercer suggested that while the wealthy enjoy their fancy dinners, the rest of the world is always this close to feeding on each other.
I know what people taste like. I know that babies taste best.
But the popularity of these kinds of films in America marks a significant shift for a country which has traditionally viewed class as fluid and subscribed to the idea that the wealthy are aspirational models we might one day count ourselves among. As the distance between the 1% and everyone else only grows wider in the US, it seems that we're finally starting to bite back.
Eat the rich.
When Meg and the Thromby family find their starting upstairs-downstairs dynamic inverted, this feels like a reckoning, a prophecy warning the entitled upper classes that at last a change is gonna come.
You think I'm not gonna fight to protect my home? Our birthright?
Our ancestral family home?
That is hooey. You know, Harlan, he bought this place in the 80s from a Pakistani real estate billionaire.
Blanc, shut up!
Eating the Rich is its own fantasy, giving us the fleeting, ephemeral wish fulfillment of seeing the corrupt and entitled getting their comeuppance, working-class heroes getting the upper hand, and the downtrodden snatching a bit of the good life back from the elites. But it's still just a daydream. The structures that create these inequalities have been in place for ages, and it will take more than a movie to tear them down.
Saving the world, as it turns out, is very hard.
The very fact that we're having these fantasies out loud, though, marks a significant transformation in our thinking. We no longer believe that, as George Bernard Shaw once claimed, only the wealthy are worth telling stories about. Instead, we can now see what a veritable feast we have before us of protagonists and plot lines where money not only isn't everything, it's the thing that's most holding us back. And it's time that everyone gets a seat at the table.
It's for when you're full.
It makes you sick, so you can go on eating.
How else could you taste everything?
If you're new here, be sure to subscribe and click the bell to get notified about all our new videos.